Which of the following is not a pest that is pestering Taipei residents this May? A. Rats. B. Cockroaches. Or C. Pillbugs, or as some people call them, roly-polies. Keep listening to Formosa Fauna to find out. Spend the next 20 minutes feeding your brain with Formosa Fauna so you can become smarter than all of your friends. Every Friday is Formosa Fauna Friday. Hello, I'm Tristan, the voice of Formosa Fauna. I love animals and I love talking about them. If you're even remotely curious about the animal kingdom, you're in the right place. If you can't tell, I have a bit of a cold, so if you can excuse the nasally nature of my voice today, we should be able to have a good time because today we're going to talk all about Taipei's recent rat infestation. This has been all over the news, so we're going to cover a few news stories centered around this so we get the facts straight. Starting with how the recent rat problems have exposed deeper issues about Taipei City. As the article says, Taipei's recent rat problems have exposed deeper issues in how the city manages its infrastructure, and this is based off of what is said in the Taipei Times. The article argues that the true measure of urban governance is not visible development projects, but the condition of underground systems such as drainage, sewage, and waste management. The writer says unpleasant odors from roadside drains in neighborhoods including Tianmu, which is regarded as quite a nice and very expensive neighborhood to live in. They say that this reflects years of neglected maintenance. The spread of rats, mosquitoes, and cockroaches, the article says, is linked less to the age of the city than to a failure to maintain basic infrastructure. So they're saying it's not because of how old the city is, it is because of a lack of strong infrastructure. The commentary describes rats as a public health indicator often used to evaluate broader urban management problems. Because rat populations are difficult to measure directly, experts instead look at factors such as complaint numbers, food sanitation violations, sewage conditions, building age, and garbage collection frequency. The article compares Taipei's rat situation to southern Taiwan's dengue fever prevention efforts, saying cities such as Tainan and Kaohsiung improved disease control through coordinated urban management strategies. With reports of increasing rat sightings and new hantavirus cases in Taipei, the commentary calls on Taipei Mayor Zhang Wan'an to adopt a more systematic response. Proposed measures include creating a scientific monitoring system using data on rat burrows, droppings, and capture rates, as well as conducting regular drainage cleanups modeled after Japanese community sanitation programs. The writer also says the government should devote more resources to disinfecting affected areas and assisting elderly residents living alone with home cleaning efforts to reduce food sources and shelter for rodents. Long-term investment, Taipei Times argues, in underground infrastructure is more important than highly visible public events or beautification projects, arguing that sustainable urban governance depends on addressing problems that are often hidden from public view. Again, on the topic of rats today, just so many rat-related topics to cover, including online tracking platforms. So growing concern over rat activity in Taipei has prompted residents to create a crowdsourced online tracking platform as the public discussion intensifies over sanitation conditions and possible health risks in the capital of Taiwan. According to Taiwan News, anxiety surrounding the issue increased after a social media user claimed her mother had been bitten by a rat while sleeping in Taipei's Zhongshan district in late April. The report circulated widely online and fueled broader conversations about rat sightings in residential neighborhoods, markets, and transportation hubs throughout the city. Taipei's Department of Environmental Protection said officials are investigating whether ongoing construction activity may be contributing to the apparent increase in sightings. Authorities say excavation work, building demolitions, and groundwater pumping projects could be disturbing underground rat habitats and driving rodents into more visible public areas. In response, members of the public launched websites including Rat Radar and Taipei Rat Tracker, which allow residents to upload photographs, submit reports, and search for rat activity by location. The platforms compile user-generated reports into interactive maps showing where sightings have been concentrated across Taipei. Data collected through the platforms showed large numbers of reports near Taipei Main Station and the Taipei 101 area, while additional sightings were frequently reported along Minchuan East Road, Nanjing East Road, Fuyuan Street, and Dunhua South Road. The concentration of reports around commercial districts and MRT stations further amplified public concern online. Some of the tracking tools include additional safety features beyond simple sighting reports. One platform displays locations where poisoned bait has been placed in order to help pet owners avoid accidental exposure. Another includes a ranking system that tracks the number of user submissions in an attempt to encourage broader public participation. The websites attracted significant attention shortly after launching, with both platforms reportedly going offline temporarily due to heavy traffic and maintenance demands. City officials, however, have disputed claims that their own situation is worsening. Taipei authorities say the number of rat-related complaints submitted through the city's 1999 hotline has actually declined, despite increased visibility of the issue on social media and in traditional media formats such as the news. I will say I have heard concern among the TNR community that even if the numbers of rats aren't increasing, but the sort of public awareness of the rats and the people's fear of the rats increasing could contribute more people to put out rat poison, which is going to end up being ingested by some stray cats and dogs, and that is not the intended effect, but it can also harm and kill these animals as well. It's not going to be well ingested just because it's a different species, right? So it does not discriminate. So I have heard concern about that and people saying, it's a real big shame that people aren't doing more, more natural solutions, using more natural solutions such as, strengthening the stray cat colonies in the area and encouraging them to go catch them. I will say, where I live, there are quite a few stray cats out on the streets, and I have not seen any rats. The only places I've seen rats near where I live are the places, actually I only saw them I've only seen them in one spot, and that spot just happens to be a place where there are no stray cats. There are dogs, though. So, that being said, I would say those places that do have some cats out in the streets roaming around are in much better condition. Perhaps those just happen to be all the places that are not around the MRT stations. Environment Minister Peng Qiming on Monday responded to mounting public concern over Taipei's rat infestation and the city government's use of poison bait following reports of a second hantavirus case in Taiwan's capital. Speaking at the legislature, Peng addressed questions surrounding the placement of rat poison in public areas after online discussions raised concerns that the bait may have been deployed in parks and other accessible locations without sufficient warning signs or protective measures. Critics warned that improperly placed poison could endanger pets, not just stray animals, but pets, children, and wildlife, including birds of prey, according to New Talk. In a statement released Sunday, Taipei city officials said poison had been placed in areas where rats commonly travel or nest, including warehouse corners, storage spaces, wall crevices, and along rat pathways and burrows. The city government said all placement methods complied with regulations and guidelines established by the central government. Peng acknowledged that rat poison remains a legal and necessary part of pest control efforts, but emphasized that its use is subject to strict safety requirements. He said poison should be secured inside protective bait boxes designed to prevent accidental human or animal contact. If poison was found placed openly in public areas without such precautions, Peng said the deployment would not have been conducted by either the central government or Taipei city authorities. The minister urged Taipei to publicly disclose locations where the poison bait has been distributed in order to improve transparency and reassure residents concerned about safety risks. He also called on Taipei Mayor Zhang Wan'an to coordinate a broader interdepartmental response to the issue. Public concern over rats has grown in recent weeks again following a wave of social media posts describing sightings in markets, streets, and around MRT stations. Despite the online attention, Taipei officials have rejected claims that the rat population is increasing again, noting that complaints submitted through the city's 1999 citizen hotline have declined compared with previous periods. Despite this, local news is also constantly talking about the rat issue and the hantavirus concerns. Peng said he personally understood the anxiety caused by rodent infestations, adding that he had recently seen rats in public parks himself. He recalled experiencing a similar problem in a previous residence, saying it required the installation of detectors and traps before the infestation could be brought under control. He added that rats can move easily between homes, restaurants, traditional markets, and night markets, making the issue difficult to address through isolated measures. Because of that, Peng said cooperation across multiple city departments is necessary to effectively manage the problem. The minister reiterated his call for greater transparency and called on Zhang Wan'an, the mayor, to hold regular interdepartmental meetings and provide consistent public updates on the city's response efforts. He stressed that authorities should approach the issue cautiously and comprehensively as public concern over sanitation and disease risks continues to grow. Among all this negative talk about rats, I figure it would be good to include some information about a native Taiwanese rodent as well. So today you're going to learn about the Formosan wood mouse, only found in Taiwan. The Formosan wood mouse is a small nocturnal mouse found only in Taiwan. It is most commonly seen in forests and mountain areas, ranging from lower hills to high elevations above 3,000 meters. The mouse has soft brown fur on its back, a white belly, large eyes, and a long tail that helps it balance while moving through the dense undergrowth. Adults are usually about 8 to 12 centimeters long, not including the tail. And unlike the larger city rats people associate with garbage or sewers, the Formosan wood mouse is a shy wild animal that spends most of its time hidden among leaf litter, roots, and fallen branches. The Formosan wood mouse is an omnivore with a flexible diet that changes depending on the season and habitat. It feeds on seeds, berries, nuts, grasses, insects, and fungi. And it also helps spread plant seeds through the forest ecosystem. In turn, it serves as a prey for many of Taiwan's native predators, like snakes, owls, civets, and small carnivorous mammals that all hunt the mouse, making it a crucial part of Taiwan's forest food chain. Because it is active mostly at night, hikers do not often see it directly, though motion-activated wildlife cameras in Taiwan's mountains frequently capture images of the species moving along trails after dark. Like many wild rodents around the world, the Formosan wood mouse can carry parasites and certain pathogens, though it is not usually considered a major urban public health concern. Researchers in Taiwan have studied the species because wild rodents can sometimes host hantaviruses, bacteria or ticks that may affect humans or other animals. However, people living in cities are far more likely to encounter invasive species such as Norway rats or roof rats than this native forest mouse. It is for that reason I am declaring it is okay to find the Formosan wood mouse cute and to like them, okay? They pose little to no risk to any human being. Most Taiwanese residents will never see a Formosan wood mouse unless they spend time hiking or camping in natural mountain environments. Its presence is generally viewed as part of Taiwan's native wildlife rather than a pest problem. So, not all rodents are problems. Taipei, back to the rats. Taipei has expanded a large-scale sanitation campaign across all 12 of the city's administrative districts following the growing public concern over rat sightings and renewed discussion about rodent-related disease risks. According to the Taipei city government, the 5-day cleanup effort began a couple weeks ago on Friday in Zhongshan district of Taipei before expanding citywide from Monday through Thursday. The campaign includes intensified street cleaning, disinfection work, and debris removal operations aimed at reducing environments where rats may gather or breed. City officials said sanitation teams, environmental workers, and local volunteers would participate in the effort, focusing particularly on parks, alleyways, and areas where garbage can and tend to clutter and accumulate. Authorities said piled debris and neglected corners can create favorable conditions for rodents and other pests. Inside the city's schedule, cleanup operations were set to begin Monday in Datong, Wanhua, and Zhongshan districts, followed by Tuesday operations in Nangang, Wenshan, and Neihu. Additional sanitation work was planned on Wednesday in Songshan, Da'an, and Xinyi before concluding Thursday in Shilin and Beitou districts. So, all 12 of the city's administrative districts. The city government warned residents that sightings of both live and dead rats could temporarily increase during the cleanup process as sanitation crews disturb hidden nesting areas and clear accumulated waste. Officials advised residents handling dead rodents to wear gloves, seal carcasses. I read that totally wrong. I thought I was telling residents to wear seal carcasses. God, what does that mean? No, officials advised residents to seal up the carcasses in bags before disposing them and disinfect affected areas using a diluted bleach solution. Gosh, that's one I'm not going to forget. Okay. Taiwan's Centers for Disease Control also sought to reassure the public, stating there is currently no indication of heightened disease risk associated with the recent sightings. CDC data showed Taiwan has recorded 45 hantavirus cases nationwide since 2017, with 2 cases reported so far this year. Figures, officials say, remain consistent with recent trends and have not significantly increased. Despite the limited number of confirmed infections, the issue has evolved beyond a simple sanitation matter and has increasingly become part of Taipei's political debate ahead of Taiwan's local elections scheduled for November 28th. Politicians and prospective candidates have begun using the controversy to criticize city management and test campaign messaging related to urban governance and public health concerns. But what do you think? And do you live in a part of your country where rats are commonly seen? Do you commonly see rats? And if so, where at? I will say, where I live I'm from Nebraska in the United States. And in Nebraska, I have only ever seen wild mice. I have also never seen wild cockroaches. We've never really gotten cockroaches inside. I think it's generally hard for cockroaches to survive there because we're so spread out and it gets so cold in the winter. But we get quite a few field mice, especially because our houses are generally made from wood, so it is easier to find crevices to enter through, and it is probably much more comfortable for them to be inside during the winter. But I've never seen rats. The first time I saw a rat out in the wild was in Taiwan, and the most recent time I've seen a rat here was a few months ago. So before all of this public outcry over the rat fiasco. So, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your experiences with rats out in the wild by writing me an email at tristan@rti.org.tw. You can write this down. It is tristan@rti.org.tw. Making it to the end of an episode makes you a Formosa Fauna friend. Thank you for tuning in, friend. See you next time for Formosa Fauna Fridays here on Radio Taiwan International.